The code for receiver 1 is composed of 5 parts: initialization, 2 forever loops, and 2 on-radio received loops. Apart from initialization, these 4 loops run in parallel. The first forever loop is used to control the game process. When the game starts, this loop sends commands through the serial port to the processing app on the laptop, controlling the color of the app switch between red and green, and playing voice instructions. The duration of the green light and the red light are configured in this loop. When the processing app on the laptop receives letter A, the app background will turn green. When the processing app on the laptop receives letter H, after the app background turns red, 1.8 seconds will be given to the players to stop running and stay still. Then you need to calculate the sum of the duration of all the green lights and red lights, and input this value into the processing app to display the total time for the countdown. The second forever loop is used to send wireless commands to scan beacons on the player's arms. These 2 on-radio received loops calculate whether each player has approached 3 receivers on the floor, determine whether the player has moved during the time when they should not, and send corresponding control commands to the processing app. This loop also receives control signals from the remote control. You can adjust the signal threshold here based on the average height of the players. If the average height of the player is above 1.8 meters, you may need to increase this value. If the average height of the player is below 1.6 meters, you may need to decrease this value. Next, I'll talk about the program of the beacon. When you download the program to the corresponding beacon, you need to change the value of beacon number. Now I want to download the program to beacon 2, so I need to change this value to 2 and click download. After the program is downloaded, the LED array will display 2. The code for the beacon is composed of 4 parts: initialization, 2 forever loops, and 1 on-radio received loop. The first forever loop measures the beacon's acceleration data to determine if the player is moving. The second forever loop will play a beeping sound when the player is moving. The on-radio received loop sends the beacon's current state back to receiver 1 when receiving request from receiver 1. For more detailed information, you can read the comments of this code. Next, I will introduce the code for receiver 2, which is composed of initialization and an on-radio received loop. In the on-radio received loop, receiver 2 will measure the signal strength of the received information, and then forward the information along with the number 2 to receiver 1. The code for receiver 2, 3, and 4 is basically the same. The only difference is the number assigned to the forward information and the delay time for forwarding the information. Next, I'll talk about the code for the remote control. When you press button A, it will start sending the command gs to the receiver 1 to inform it to start the game. It will keep sending the gs command until the remote control gets feedback information from receiver 1. The same applies to pressing button B to reset the game. Next, I'll talk about the processing app. After you installed this processing programming environment, you need to add the official sound library. Otherwise, the voice instructions cannot be played. So when receiver 1 is connected to your laptop, the processing app should be able to automatically pick up the serial port number and wait the command from receiver 1 to start the
Attention,
countdown.
all players.
If it is not the case with your operating system, you can change the code manually to choose the serial port. You can use the Arduino programming environment to check the port number. Here on my computer is COM10. Change the port number to COM10.
Attention, all players. The game is about to begin. Please stand behind.
So you can change the duration of each green light and red light session, but you need to calculate the sum of the duration of all the green lights and the red lights and input this value into the processing app. For example, if the duration is 82 seconds, so you need to set the countdown time to 82 seconds. And you need to change the reset countdown time to 82 seconds too. In the next video, I will talk about how to use this data acquisition software to measure radio signal strength to help you find if there is any problem with your setting.